Quick project car, 24 hours of Lemons update. My dad has mocked up a bit of the idea that we want to have for the back end of our horse-looking car. That's our tail, and possibly tailpipe, but we can't put it just like that. We have to make sure it's under the car somehow. We'll figure it out. Anyway, as you know, we already gutted this thing, took out the transmission. Oh, the rear end is out now because we sold the 5-liter that we had in 1982, 5-liter, which we took the diff out of, which is limited slip. So we have the limited slip diff to go back in this car, but we sold it and needed the non-limited slip 7 1/4, I think, out of this one. And engine's all out and everything. We know this steering rack does not leak despite being covered in oil. It's not from the steering, which is good. So we're keeping it, and we're keeping the pump because when I was pulling the one off the 5-liter, which is now sitting on our V6 right now, I took that fitting out, and I don't think I can put it back in, or at least it probably won't seal. So I managed to pull it off with the bracket. Tried to use a puller but could not pull off the pulley. So I took the whole bracket off. Took the bracket off of the one on the V6. And I've got it over here on our V8. And fortunately, the bracket that's on it, which is a complete closed-in circle, so you have to pull the pulley off to take it off, does fit onto the bolt pattern on our water pump in roughly the same place as the other one. Problem is, I have to modify this bracket from the V6 was on here to the side of the cylinder head. This does also have the bolt for the cylinder head, but it's not in the right spot. So I'm going to have to bend this bracket out a little or something so it lines up correctly. And at the moment, I have not secured the pump because needs to be partway up the studs on the water pump. So it can't be flush on the bottom because it's too far back. So I got to put a couple of nuts on and bring it forward a little. Double nut it, Loctite it, square it up as best I can to the whole pulley system here. And then bend the bracket to fit over here for some stability, because otherwise it's just those 2 bolts and this stamped steel plate, which will probably bend a little if there's a lot of force on it. And we don't want that. We want our belt to stay on. Nice thing is the water pump seems smooth. It's not rough. Sounds like the bearing's good. And the alternator looks fairly new, especially when compared to the one on the V6. So I think we're in pretty good shape. Add that to our big radiator, which we fitted. We got the radiator of my dad's truck, which did have a pinhole leak in it somewhere, but he put a little stop leak in it and it stopped, but still ended up replacing his with a new one. And I managed to get a bunch of the excess plastic brackety stuff sawed off the sides of it so that it goes all the way back. If you're careful, it goes back far enough. I can't quite show you. Anyway, it goes back far enough that you can use the stock top hooks. We just have to build our own bottom hooks, and we'll have to probably put a little rubber on the side or something so that it's not rubbing against the plastic housing here. Actually, it's probably worse on the other side. So, that's what's happening for now. And of course, we still have to put all this in the car and build a roll cage and do all the other safety stuff like brakes and cutoff switch and harness and seat, and there's a long list of things to go still.